I'll do that now. Settings. This one. Okay. Is it working? Okay, now it's coming through. So, Dino, who is our last year, and I think the year before PC2 champion, scored an 8th place in Japan when I was busy and not able to commentate, but that's what the standings say. But the Aston Martin driver, not off to the same start as last season. I remember last season at this point, Dino was 2 for 2 wins coming into Austria. Then somehow, despite not having the pace, got a 3rd win there. Maybe it was my giga engineering skills. We have 10 drivers, and Marko Dordovic has set a 19.1, which I don't know if that. I don't think that's particularly quick. But this is Dino's teammate, as Robbie does an 18.8, which is quicker, and then Dino does a 17.4, which is less trash of a lap, let's just say. And then McGinty does a 0.1. What does Imchaz do? Whatever that is. Keeler, our PC3 champion from last season, who I don't think has raced so far, and is making sure we have a grid of 10 people today. Also, sorry you didn't get the... What's Keeler done? Backed off, I think. Also, sorry we missed the first few minutes of qualifying. There was a bit of drama to do with finding 10 people to fill a grid, but we have done it. And the stream is theoretically live. And there's 2 concurrent viewers right now. 3 people watching. So I think I have done the stream settings correctly. But Keeler comes into turns 1 and 2 now. No Spinaruni in the Ferrari. Did he keep it flat if he turn 3? He might have. We'll do this. Now coming through turn 4 and getting on the caution, it's purple first sector for Philip, so not looking too shabby. Now coming down into turn 6 or turn 7? I think this is turn 7, or is it turn 8? I think this here is turn 9. Almost flat for the Polish driver, who now comes into recently reprofiled turn 10. 4th gear, using a lot of road and exit. And then short shifting to 5th now into turn 11, which is a bit of a slow corner. And now into the chicane that they're planning on removing for this year's Grand Prix. 4th gear, and full throttle to the final corner, opening DRS, across the line, and it is a 17.3, so not too bad of a lap. However, Philip will have to do, well, Philip is on 0.1 laps of fuel, so we'll go on board with Vin Dyson, who is about to start a lap now in the Alpha Tauri. Coming out of the corner, flicking the battery on, opening DRS. Not going particularly quick in this straight, I think. 3.14, let's compare that to other people later. Coming through turn 2, not opting to use the inside curb. Flat out through turn 3, just like Keeler, although we can't confirm the Keeler, but Keeler felt flat out. Now into turn 4, taking it quite nicely again. And now into turn 5, keeps it clean once again. Now to the tiny kink of 6 into 7, and now turn 8. Using the curb there. Then do turn 9, it's completely flat for the Alpha Tauri, so carrying a lot of downforce. Now into a slow bit where the high wings will help, and apparently it's a purple middle sector for the AlphaTauri, so maybe this is a good track, or maybe the wings are working well. Now into the final chicane, third gear, opting to not short shift into fourth, coming out of the final corner, almost runs into the back of the Ferrari. Wait, both of the Ferraris are in the pit. This is odd. What's going on? Sanchez on an out lap. Dino is starting a lap now. Most of the Bindis are only doing 3:14. Dino's doing 3:13, so I'm not really sure what wings everyone's running. Also, I forgot to mention that Bindisen did a 17.7. It's surprisingly slow given the amount of speed carried by the car through the high speed, but the Aston Martin seems to be very hooked up right now. Oh gosh, we're already halfway through qualifying. This is what happens when you're dealing with problems when qualifying starts. Small lift for Dino, runs out wide and validates. Who else is on the lap? Should we go with championship leader McGinty, who is also not going particularly quick down the straight. 3:14 again. Now into turn 1 and 2. Through turn 3 it's a tiny lift. We're taking a tight line, which is odd. I'd rather just take a slightly wide line and go flat out, but shouldn't be too much of a time difference. Now into turn 5, third gear but keeping it clean. On traction, no wheel spin. Now into 7, you do not want to ride the exit curb. McGinty is very close. And we're keeping it almost flat through turn 9. I didn't realise these cars have that much downforce, if I'm completely honest. Keeping it very tight through turn 10, which is a shorter line but has lower minimum speed, so it's a trade-off between the two for minimising your lap time. Second gear through the chicane, which is lower than everyone else, but I guess it works. And we'll see what lap time it is, and it is a 17.0, so a small improvement over the previous lap. What's Marco doing? Again, second gear, it looks like a back off lap. And it is. It's about Matusiak and the Williams. Running a lot less swing than everyone else, doing 3:20, so maybe someone to look out for in the race. Really cutting the corner from the apexes at turn 1 and 2. Having to do a small lift through turn 3 as a result of the lower wings, and then that was a pretty dumb invalidation if I'm being completely honest. I feel like riding a wall with the rest of the lap because it seems to be a push. No, it's not. It's about Robbie in the Mercedes. That line did not seem particular. I think this is a back off lap or push that. That's a bit naughty. If that was the race and someone reported it, that would be 5 seconds. I'm not sure about qualifying though, if it's the same penalty. What's Figali doing? Recharging the battery in neutral. Classic. Did Imtiaz just cut the track there as a shortcut? That's a bit banned. We'll go back and forward with Figali, who's mostly recharged the battery. Now coming out of the final corner to start a lap. What speed down the straight will it be? 3:17, so a bit above average, though not that much above average. Small lift through turn 3, and then 2 small slides, and then running wide as a consequence and invalidating. So not what the Lebanese driver would have wanted. What about Chirek? Turn the battery off. anyone else on a lap? I think the Tuziak might be after invalidating the previous one. He'll ride more with the rest of this lap. Seems to have just a bit less confidence than everyone else with the lower wings, having to do a pretty sizable lift through turn 9. And like Finn Dyson, he took it completely flat, which is very ballsy in my opinion. They're coming through whatever turn this is. Into left-right chicane. 40th extra security and actually going into the pits. I think they're going to struggle with pit entry a lot in the race. I've already seen 2 of them cross the line so far. There's Keeler on the lap, just finishing the lap. I don't know why Keeler's going from 8th to 7th and then back to 8th again on the straight. Though he did something really funky at Canada last season, where on the exit of the corner he short shift from 5th to 6th and back down to 5th, and then go up to 6th again, down the straight. Finn Dyson, I think, is on an in lap. And it's a bit quicker than a 17.7 if you're taking turn 9. That's how it's true. It has unfortunately disconnected or had eco dumper or something. Why is everyone in the pits? This is boring. Also, if you're enjoying the stream, please write something in the chat that I can respond to. Because I haven't seen confirmation that chat is working yet. I'm not sure if that would have been a legal pit entry if it was in the race. But Marco's on an out lap. Oh, Robbie. No, wrong this button. Who do we ride on board with? No one's saying in chat. I want a decision. I'm sad as a result. Now when I just talk about something random, which is the stream latency setting. So I could go for low latency so the chat is lower latency, or I could go for the higher latency and enable closed captions in case I want to report reset to tracks. What I just do, or pit entries, is I just control F the transcript, the auto-generated one, and then I can find all the stuff. But Marco is the first driver on track, so we'll go on board with the Aston Martin. For a lap. Coming out of the final corner, flicking on the battery, opening DRS, up to 8th gear. What speed is it going through down the straight? 14. Now coming into turn 1 and 2. Opting to not use the curb on the apex of turn 2, which kinda makes sense. Tiny lift. We turn 3 and taking a tight line. I think I've already done my spiel about. We turn 4. Using a lot of inside curb. I'm not actually sure whether that curb is nice or not. Nice or naughty sounds better than that though. We'll call it the not sure about it curb. Now into turn 9. Slight lift. And then back on throttle opening DRS. Into turn 10. Purple middle sector apparently. And into the final sector where there's a lot of time that can be gained or lost. These 2022 cars just feel like boats in the final sector. Out of the final corner and opening DRS now, and it is 17.2. Still okay lap. What can Keeler do? 317 down the straight, so pretty decent. Using a bit more curve to turn 2. Will it be flat? the tiniest of lifts. To turn 3, now into turn 4, into the avoids the I'm not sure curve on the inside of the corner. Apparently went purple in the first sector. Lots of purple sectors flying around right now. Into turn 7 and 8. Did he use that yellow curb? I don't know. Tried to take it flat, but it didn't work. Unfortunately. There's McGinty on the lap. Bindeisen's not on the lap though. But McGinty is now coming into turn 10. The purple middle sector apparently, but we've had a lot of purple sectors. The checkered flag is now out. Why is it giving checkered flag even though I can see both Ferraris driving around? This is odd. But McGinty does 16.9. Which is okay, I guess. What's going on with Churek? Missing a front wing. Why does it say the checkered flag is out? This is weird. Only one driver yet to finish. You had to go through the pit lane, and then we just hit the retire button, so you don't have to watch your car drive all the way down to the Williams pit garage, and then have them wheel it in. We'll be in the race shortly. Yeah, it is really nice to see a full grid. Yeah. Really is. Okay, here are the qualifying results. McGinty on pole, Imchaz second, Puscadia third, Dordovic fourth, Keeler fifth, Bindeisen sixth. Actually, the top 5 are quite close, but then it's a slightly big gap to Enric, and then Matuziak is quite a bit of drift, but quite close with Kinnable and Fagali, who are 7th, 8th and 9th, and then Churek rounds out the back of the grid, his race director. Everyone used to retires apparently. Were there any incidents? Some track limits. A lot of incidents involving Fagali. Do we need a second commentator? Well, I am slightly sick. You might be able to hear that. So I have finite words in my budget today. Is it overcast? Maybe. I don't feel like talking about race strategy. Too many words. Few seconds until we go. Lights. 5 red lights. And away we go. Seems like Imchaz has gotten a better start than McGinty, and so has Dino, so not the best start for the Red Bull driver, who is down to 3rd, and Marco's unfortunately had a spin around the back. There might have been a bit of contact, as there's a few cars round or off the track. You can see that the Ferrari of Churek has just been able to recover back to the track. So it seems like none of them have any significant damage, although there might be some rear wing damage, which I can't see. I don't think now is the time that I talk about the race I had on Monday. I had to do literally half the race without a front wing and an orange rear wing. And then when I came into the pits to swap the front wing, I had to set it from like 15 to 0 as Kinnabal's gone quite wide, and that will invite Matusiak past into the corner. We check the tyres. Here we go. Imchiaz, despite being on hard, which are the C1 variety of hards at this track, has been able to take the lead. Normally you get a terrible launch on the C1, which is the hardest compound Pirelli makes. And then, what is it called? They feel better as the race goes on. But, although Dino's right up the back of his former championship rival, and is using a little bit of battery and is maybe looking to go for a move, but right now Imchaz seems very comfortable out in front. Vin Dyson's also boxed, so maybe actually getting wing damage. Unlike what I said about no one getting wing damage, so maybe I was wrong. But right now, it's a pretty tight battle up front, and Fagali, after having not that great of a qualifying, is up to P4 as well, so showing some slightly better race pace, or maybe just a less unlucky turn one. However, Imchaz on those hards seems to be the cork in the bottle right now, with all the drivers queuing up behind. As we come through whatever corner, this is the final corner, he's using the battery. It seems like McGinty's going to try and get past Puscadia, and the move works, as Dordovic also sets the fastest lap of the race. So showing some pretty good pace in that Aston Martin. Unfortunate to get caught up in the turn 1 incidents. But right now, he's going to absolutely send it on Imchiaz. Dino's going to be very happy. What is this that I'm witnessing? Calm down, guys. Yeah, Dino's going to be very happy with the championship implications of this. But fortunately for Imchiaz, it's only down to P4. The worry is that if he loses the rest of the cars ahead, all he needs to do is stick in DRS and then wait until the tyre swap happens, and then go vroom on the mediums, when everyone else will have to put on the hards, where the warm-up is dreadful, like it always is in the season. I'm not sure how bad Spain is in terms of the warm-up. I know that Japan is horrible, so is Silverstone. Yeah, it's lap 3. I don't know why they're trying to kill each other, although there is a position swap further back. Kinnable seems to have somewhat ghosted. McGinty set the fastest lap by nerfing Imchiaz out of the way. But right now, Dino, that's silly. Dino seems to be able to take turn 3 most of the lap. Feels pretty good considering how much fuel there is in the car. The front left seems to be at 97 degrees. I can see at the steering wheel. You probably can't, but I've got a 4K monitor thing, but I'm only streaming 1080p, so I can see more than you, which only seems fair, because you expect me to do all the speaking and words and stuff from those, as Fagali's dropped out of DRS. So Imchiaz stays within Fagali's DRS, but drops off the DRS of the leaders, and it seems like McGinty might just be towing Scuderia along. McGinty's shown some pretty good pace recently. His Vin Dyson's had to spin out the back, unfortunately, in turn 4, but it's got going now, but is almost actually a bit more than half a lap down, and it seems like Fagali has in fact dropped out of DRS right now. Is dumping the back to try and get back in. Although Dino's setting the fastest lap, I'm able to do some business. That Delta or whatever. Also Keeler, who's on a full battery, like completely full, right behind Marco, might just be sitting inside LDRS right now. A lot of just sitting in DRS at the moment, if I'm being completely honest. Although Dino is having to use a decent amount of battery at the moment to try and keep up to the back of McGinty. Actually, they're both quite low, but they're not as low as Fagali, but Imchas has a lot of battery, and Matusiak seems to be pretty similar. So now Imchas, despite being shoved off, seems to be in an okay spot, given that he's getting the worst of the tyres out of the way now. The tyre delta will eventually swing in the favour of the McLaren, who's actually going to go for a move on Joe Fagali right now, using the battery and the DRS. And I think he'll be ahead into turn 1 as Marco Ordovic sets the fastest lap of the race, showing the inherent pace of that Aston Martin. And trying to come back from that lap 1 spin. But right now Imchaz is going to be chasing after current and former champion, well, the current championship rival McGinty and former championship rival Dino Pescadia. Although the hards at this point will be a slower tyre, but the hards are a very stable compound, which when they like by lap 20 they still feel good, I think. And when Imcha switches to the mediums, they'll be looking good, as some people would say, and he's been able to stabilise the delta right now, which is a positive sign for the McLaren driver, because if you're able to stabilise the delta right now, when the tyre advantage just keeps swinging further and further, you'll be looking very good, as Fagali seems to have gone a bit deep into the chicane, and I'm not sure if he's got DRS. He does not. That is not good. And Matusiak is going to be seeing the red light flashing. Although Matusiak's dumped a lot of battery just to close up to the back of the Red Bull. I'm not sure how useful that was. I would have saved it and then gone next lap. Although Fagali has a massive snap, and that will force him to relinquish the position to the Williams, who is now ahead but out of DRS with Imchaz. And speaking of Imchaz stabilising the gap has actually grown a bit. It seems like McGinty's quite quick, and Dino is quick enough to stick within DRS at this moment, as I am tired and sleepy and a bit sick right now. One more for Fagali, yes. Now they're coming through whatever turn this is. Will Fagali go for a move or just stay behind and recharge? I'm not sure, though Fagali went deep last lap, but this time cut the curb a little bit. Now coming out of the final corner, opening DRS, but has no battery, so can't really do anything. But can see the red light on Matusiak flashing, so they both know that they're both low on battery, which has a psychological effect. And Fagali spun it, but done a really nice 360 Verstappen at Hungary style. I think Marco will be able to swoop past around the outside of turn 3, although Keeler will not be able to follow him through. Keeler will be spotting weakness in the flashing red light, and also has a lot of battery. As Fagali almost torpedoes the back of Marco, but fortunately no collision. And we're coming through turn 7. I think Keeler's just sitting behind for now, but will pounce on the main straight to make sure that he doesn't drop out of Marco's DRS if Fagali does. That's my expectation at least. Also, McGinty goes got Dino as they're coming through the final sector now. And then Dino's over the section point now and is just within DRS. So we'll be able to close back in on the decently long straight. Now they come out on the final corner and Keeler bins it. That's not ideal for the PCP champion to have a spin right now. I guess you just need to get your head down and focus. So Broadovich after that lap on Oopsie Daisy is now up to P5. Not as good as his teammate who's in P2 right now. Although it is on the bubble of DRS, is how I would describe it. Now coming through turn 9, opening the rear wing for that. Now it seems like Finn Dyson's had a spin out of the final corner. Oh, you don't want to get onto that curb. I think his rears are too hot. What's happening in the pre-season? Yeah, his rear right's 109, I think. Is that 105 or is it 107? It's 100 and something. It's not ideal. Now it's 104. This is not what you want, especially when you're about to become a lap down. Right now, Dino is the only driver within someone's DRS and is really on the bubble, but we'll check the battery. It's a bit more for McGinty, so the Red Bull seems to have very good pace at the moment. Anything else happening? They're going around the track. Regali's got 3 seconds for track limits. How do you get track limits at Spain? I guess you can go wide at turn 3, turn 9. Actually, how do you get track limits at Spain? I understand how you can get it once or twice if you make a really big mistake, but there aren't any corners where you're like at the absolute limits of track. I guess there you are, but it's not as bad as any corner at Canada or any corner at Mexico. I think Dino's dropped out. Dino has dropped out. Also McGinty approaching the back of Finn Dyson, and there are blue flags. So as one driver said, blue flags, blue flags, blue. You've probably heard that song. Not sure though. Now the AlphaTauri's been ghosted by the game. Although we'll probably be giving DRS to McGinty right now. So the Red Bull will be able to pull further away from Dino. Out of turn 9. Well, the AlphaTauri seems quite quick and now gets out of the way of the Red Bull. It's about the Aston Martin of Dino though. What does the AlphaTauri do? Is it going for the giving DRS strategy? I think that might be what's happening. It's an interesting place to let a car overtake. Also Truex in the pits, and that will put the Ferrari a lap down. I think there's been a lot of sickness going around recently because like half the drivers here. That's why the grid was so small. Like I think 3 people dropped out due to sickness, maybe 4 or 5. Not exactly sure. Also, the commentator's quite sick. I think there's just generally high levels of sickness going around right now. Is Fagali disconnected? I think that is what's happened. Fagali. Right. Not connected or whatever. Which is really not ideal. What else is going on? I think I'm just waiting for stuff to happen. I think Finn Dyson's had an spin. Tuesday in the pits. I wonder if that was a scheduled pit stop or not, because it is quite early. And I think Finn Dyson's going to put some different tyres on. I'm not sure if they'll be hard, softs, and mediums. They're hard tyres. They should be a bit more thermally stable, but they'll have less grip. Especially coming out of the pit lane. 70-degree C1s are an utter nightmare. Who's that? Who's joined? Probably going to leave in not too long. Probably. What is there to talk about? I wish I could just Michael Massey the race and just call out an entertainment safety car whenever I feel like it. Fagali's still disconnected, but is still P6. Fagali's now back in the session, so it will probably be able to retake control of the car. The AI is driving quite slowly. Well, it should soon switch from a ghosted AI car to a real driver, because Fagali's rejoined the lobby, so Finn Dyson's had to spin. Fagali's now unghosted. He's managed to get going without a secondary spin, which is nice. Yeah, I described that as nice. What else is happening? Truex, middle of nowhere. Bobby, middle of nowhere. Matusiak, middle of nowhere. Fagali, middle of nowhere. Keeler, middle of nowhere. After that spin. Dordovic, tyres going off, dropping back to Imchaz now. Imchaz. I guess this race could get interesting when the strategy happens, but right now not much is happening. This race is not particularly exciting. IMHO. Should I pretend it's a qualifying lap? No, I'll go more with Finn Dyson. See A, how many spins, and B, is turn 9 still flat? Probably not. Get a bit of battery. Coming into turn 1, doing 308 kilometers an hour. Making the first apex nicely. They're opting to not use the curve in turn 2. That's out in turn 3. So, I have a lot of confidence to do the high speed. Now into turn 4. Pretty nicely done on the limit. Both Dino and Ethan are in the pit, which is mildly interesting. Something's happening, as someone would say. I wonder who's watching, because it says there's 2 concurrent viewers right now. So if the 2 people watching this could say hi in chat or something, so I know who I'm talking to. He's actually going to go side by side with McGinty, and they do not collide, which is optimal. Yeah, not colliding is optimal, as I would say. And they are coming through turn whatever this is. Will McGinty be able to stay within DRS of Keeler? I think so, however, once the tie's up to temp, Keeler will be a bit of a bottleneck. Though has McGinty kept within DRS? Yes. Close up, will he try and go for an overtake down the main straight? Keeler's battery is about half full. I'm not sure if Keeler feels like defending this or not. Even if it doesn't make sense to defend it from a race perspective, it might be more fun. Because I wouldn't be surprised if everyone is just a little bit bored and wanted to have a little bit of a battle right now. And McGinty is just within DRS, using a bit of battery off corner exit, and now closing in all down the straight with the aid of the drag reduction system. And they're not going particularly quick, if I'm being completely honest. I wonder if Keeler's listening. Could he back these guys up? Or back McGinty up specifically, so we have a more interesting fight? Please. Finn Dyson's had a spin. Again. And again. How did that not get damage? We ride on board. On board. Keyboard. Ha ha ha. Not a funny joke. Near tie attempt seems fine. Gali's disconnected again. This time also I think that's Truex who's had a spin. And Keeler's into the pits, unleashing McGinty. Why do you have to be so boring, everyone? Oh, Keeler, why did he have to do that? That's just like silly. Stop speeding in the pit lane, okay? What's going on? Will Dordovic be able to catch up to Matusiak? Maybe. Actually, it's an on-track battle. Interesting. Actually, Keeler might also be able to join the fight on the medium tyres. If it wasn't for that penalty. Truex tied in the pits. Which is boring compared to a tyre spinning it on track and bringing out a safety car. But that's how bored I am. They seem like they're driving in circles. McGinty sets the fastest lap. Apparently Truex had rear wing damage. And not enough fuel, although having rear wing damage means you have to be a lot more gentle with the right foot and you're a lot quicker down the straights, both of which help with fuel saving. Truex car's parked itself in the dumbest place possible. Dordovic is closing into the back of Matusiak in the fight for 4th position. What else can I say? There's a race go. It's not a particularly interesting race though. Would I even call this a race? It's just people driving in Spain, which is pain. Though not as Spain as Portugal. Look at them, they're driving around a circuit. Opening DRS and the Aston Martin, will you go for it in turn 10? Not really. Almost touching though. But no contact. Go through turn whatever. Whatever turn this is. Now into the final chicane. One throttle for the Aston Martin. Presumably as well for the Williams. And the Williams is flashing. But I think we saw this in qualifying. The Suziak was running a very slim wing. Because now they're coming through turn 3. Now into turn 4. Suziak went a bit wide and also flashes momentarily, although market already knows that the Williams is low on the battery. Imchat is in the pits. Finally. And has gone for mediums. Box quite late. The medium tyres will be feeling very good for the rest of the race when you box this late. Actually not too far behind Dino. Will be interesting to see how the race progresses. Wardovich has had a spin. Which is not ideal. And he's dropped out of penalty range of Keeler. Which is not ideal. As Matusiak's now had a spin. And has spun again. Bindai's in fashion. I should probably stop bullying this guy for having spins and then spinning again trying to recover from it. Doesn't spin this lap, let's go! Now Keeler, very lonely people. Imchaz though, I think I'll just do like 5 laps. There's 2 of you watching, plus me, so that's 3. Not much is happening. Just a lot of driving around. Apparently next week, the Xbox Origin crossplay will merge with PC2 and PC3. I think that's needed given the attendance this week. Coming through whatever turn this is. There's a car. What else can I say? Imchaz is slowly closing into Dino. Not much else is really happening. Even though Motive F3 said no. Yeah. My thinking is that if over, I think it was like if X number of drivers raced, it wouldn't, at Spain it wouldn't happen. And if greater than X drivers did race, the merge, or if less than X drivers raced, then the merge would happen. I'm not sure what that number was. Wodge seemed to say 15 per tier, which would be 45 in total. I would go for somewhere between 35, if it's less than 35 it's a definite merge. I think 40 for me is like where it's 50-50. Given that there's 10 here, not sure if there were 13 or 14 in the Xbox Origin, and I'll just check now to see how many were in the PC3. I'll get that now. There were 16, so that brings us, I'll confirm the exact number for the crossplay tier. 13 ended up showing up. So we're up to a total of 39, which is less than 40. So I guess merger's happening. Because people can't turn up. Although to be fair, PC3 actually did turn up. I've just got pinged, I don't care. I can probably check what happened, who pinged me. Is David the only viewer? I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. And I don't blame if you disconnected. So, okay, that was a meaningless ping that I got from one of the many servers I'm in. Not much is... actually, there's stuff going on right now. Imchiaz is on the back of Dino. I just had a thought McGinty might have 5 seconds for yeeting Imtiaz or something early on in the race. And Imtiaz might inherit the race win from McGinty on post-race penalties. Going through the final chicane now. Imtiaz opens. Yeah, full lobbies are more exciting. Full lobbies are more interesting to commentate because what happens with half lobbies is that 2/3 of the time no one's next to anyone. It's just 10 cars driving around in circles. Whereas when there's 20 people, it's probable that at least 2 people are close to each other, so you have something to do, and you're also more likely to get a safety car if there's more people who are there to bin it. But Imchaz right now probably be wanting to get a bit of a hurry up on, knowing that McGinty likely has a 5-second penalty incoming, if reported, for that early crash. But the attendance is literally ridiculous for this race. If I go right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people have pulled out since the middle of today. 8. That's like literally half the grid, and then we got Keeler in, who normally doesn't race outside the country. Dino's really got a lot of straight line speed. I should probably be commentating the actual action, and it seems like Imchez has been able to overtake the Aston Martin, although Dino is looking to re-challenge into whatever turn this is, and they're going to go side by side through the corner. And I think Imchaz, though, with the additional grip, is going to be able to keep the position, and Dino is forced to slot behind and wait in DRS. However, the Aston Martin does have roughly a 10% battery advantage right now. So, depending on whether Dino can stay within DRS, there might be a bit of a re-challenge going on later, as they go through turn 9 right now, and the Aston Martin is right on the back of the McLaren as they head into the final sector. And it seemed like the hard tyres on the Aston Martin are starting to phase into this race. And the mediums on the McLaren aren't as absurdly powerful as I thought they would be, although MGS is able to pull away quite a bit in this final sector, and also close the gap to McGinty ahead as they now come out of the final corner. And I don't think there's anything that Dino's going to be able to do, being 8 tenths behind Imchaz. DRS seems a bit weak. IMHO. Now we're coming through turn 1 and 2. The Aston Martin is going to have to sit behind as Imchas tries to lay chase to McGinty. It's going to be 7 more laps. Imchas has 1 second to close to DRS, or sorry, to penalty range, not DRS range. They are coming through whatever turn this is. Dino's right on the bubble of DRS. But has been consistently strong through turn 9, but so has the Imchas. And I suspect that the McLaren will be able to break that 1 second mark with the grippier tyres. And he has. Unless he makes a mistake. Which is possible. I don't think it's going to happen. Actually, Dino's had a very nice final sector, and there's only about 20 milliseconds outside the detection point. Also, Imchas has not really been able to close up to the back of McGinty particularly much. This is such a boring race. Gives me excitement. Also, if the merge happens, it means I either get David Booker or Luke Mills to commentate with, unless David decides to step down a bit. Because he is a little bit busy. Matusiak is into the box. I guess if you're 21 seconds ahead of the car behind, no real cost. Puts on some softs. It's probably going for fastest lap. It's a nice clean pit stop. I actually need to watch this to see how big the pit delta is at this track, and it seemed like 21 seconds is the pit delta here. Coming into turn 1. Robbie on those 24 lap old but warm and also worn hard tyres seems to be putting up a good fight, but once those soft switch on they will be so much quicker. Also, Robbie seems to be having a slight internet dirt moment right now, and is also looking extremely racy through the corners. The softs of the win in the head should get temperature this instant. It's just like me dying. I'm surprised Matusiak's using the battery. That's a lot of. That's very little. Why does the game give such crappy camera angles? I think Robbie's tapped Matusiak down and is going to give the place back. Right now. It's a nice thing to do. Dordovich is also boxing again. That was 37.1, well, let's say 37 seconds, and not put any decimal places on it. And now coming out of pits is 16. It's about 20.5 seconds. It depends on the warm-up as well. I think Marco is more likely to get the fastest lap than Matusiak. I just have that feeling also Finn Dyson's had the same idea. Finn Dyson actually has a full battery. I've noticed. I'd like to see a car go flat through turn 9. But I think I'll go on board with Dordovich. Now I'm on board with Finn Dyson because I feel like it. You know, you just feel like doing something. I also feel like turning up my mic volume a bit so I can speak a bit quieter, you can probably barely hear me. And also put the mic right by my face so I can literally whisper into it and you can still hear me. Sort of dealio business or whatever. So I can't be bothered to talk right now. Look, OBS is saying I should be quite loud right now. If one of the two people in chat wants to say anything about it. So my mic boom arm about to fall down. It might. And the Alpha Tauri makes it out of the final corner without spinning, which is good. Switches on the battery. I'm pretty sure this is the fastest lap attempts. And I'm pretty sure this isn't the only driver on a fastest lap attempts right now. I'm just checking that my microphone won't fall down, which it might actually do. I've pushed it back in, so hopefully it will remain intact for the remainder of this race. So that's probably the most exciting thing that's happened so far, other than the lap 3 thing. Will turn 9 be flat, please make it flat because it looks so nice. Oh, it's the tiniest of lifts. That makes me sad. It's not a Mercedes W11, but it is a purple middle sector, as I'm starting to die and run out of words with my sickness. But we've only got 1 and a bit laps, or was it 2? I don't know where McGinty is, but Finn Dyson switches on the battery out of the final corner. It is fastest lap. I bet on the correct horse, everyone. Any doubters, which is probably none of you, because there's only 2 of you, you got proven wrong. If you thought that Dordovic was going to set the fastest... Did I say Dordovic was going to set fastest lap? If I find the correct button. Well, it is a purple middle sector, Marco, but the battery is out. No more battery. That is a real problem for the Aston Martin. Coming back down to lap 31 as Finn Dyson's had a spin. Marco set the fastest lap. Oh, maybe I was wrong. Or maybe, actually, did I bet on Marco? I think I bet against Matusiak, and Matusiak is right now 0.6 seconds down, so I guess I'm a bit correct, some would say. I bet on 2 of them. Also, Imchaz is now within penalty range. So I guess if McGinty gets reported, which is a probably yes, and gets a penalty, which is probably happening, I guess Imchaz is winning. Just like Bahrain. Except in Bahrain I didn't see what happened, because that was an exciting race. And there would be more than 1 or more than 2 groups of people close to each other, which might sound revolutionary, but in a lobby with more than 10 people, sometimes you have the problem that there's 2 battles going on at the same time. It means that you can't get everything on the stream. I know. Sarcasm has infinite bounds, or is it no bounds? I don't care. Why am I just riding on board with... Here's McGinty. Finn Dyson, what's happened? Binned it. You know, you could have binned it a few laps ago and brought out a safety car. And then I would have unzombified myself. In Chaz comes P2, maybe P1. Dino P3. Keeler's just spun. But I think we'll get away with it. You know what? I'll tell people they can have an interview. Keeler had the 5-second time penalty. Not much is really happening. Finally, something happening. I'll give them like 60 seconds to join talking VC. It's talking, not talking one, right? Yeah. 6th place for Matuziak. Dordovic gets the in-game driver of the day. Here's our probably not winner. Has anyone taken up my offer of an interview? No. Oh. Here's the race director. Here's the incidents. It's very short because, as I said, Spain, you need to be special to get track limits. And there hasn't really been many people. I will switch to this screen. I'll, what's it called? Game closer. Is anyone joining for an interview? I guess people are just coming off the race now. No one's joined it yet. Really nothing's happening. If I was being really cheeky, I could go and raid the interview room for the... what's it called? The crossplay tier. I just want someone to talk to. Finn Dyson's here. Someone, finally. Hello.
Hello.
Almost got the fastest lap.
It was horrific. At the end, I didn't want to race anymore, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was boring as fuck. I'm sorry for swearing, but it was boring.
Yeah, it was very boring. I think the first three laps we had a DRS train, then McGinty shoved Imchaz off the track, and then nothing happened after that.
Oh god, yeah. I spun and I was like, yeah, no need to try anymore, honestly.
Yeah.
I hate Spain as a track, but the whole race was just boring, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was 10 people, so...
Apparently there's going to be something called the merge happening.
Yeah, I suspected that already.
Hopefully there will be more drivers next week at Zandvoort Sprint next week. Are you excited?
Do you know that one place in Zandvoort where... I have that one place after the banked first bank corner. I just spin there. It's on the straight, and I just lose my rear there.
That's odd.
So, yeah, it's a really odd place, honestly. Maybe it is. I don't know, honestly, what it is. I already asked friends, and they don't have the problem there. But I need to look into it before I can race there, to be honest.
Yeah.
But other than that, Zandvoort is a great track.
Yeah, it is a nice track.
I'm looking forward.
I think we'll end the stream on that slightly more positive note.
Yeah.
And one person you've watching, goodbye David, who I suspect that one viewer is.